Good afternoon and welcome to NTA Nationwide. We are still in the mood of Salah. My name is Femi Johnson and thanks for joining us. Kwara State Governor Alhaji Abdul Fattah Ahmed has expressed optimism that Nigeria will overcome its challenges if only Nigerians unite and also pray for sustainable peace and tranquility in the nation. He was speaking at the Ilorin Yidi praying ground after joining other Muslims to perform the 2 Rakat prayers to mark Eid al-Kabir. Correspondent Femi Afariogun reports.
The governor, Alhaji Fattah Ahmed, who was one of the thousands of worshippers at the Eid praying ground in Ilorin, called on Muslims to pray for unity and total calm in the country. Salah period, he said, should be used for sober reflection by all to ponder on how individuals can contribute to the development of Project Nigeria.
We should create hope, we should create strength in ourselves and believe in ourselves. Nigerians can do it better than what we have today. Inshallah, God will help us all.
The Minister of Planning and Deputy Chairman National Planning Commission, Dr. Abubakar Suleiman, urged Nigerians to shun ethnicity and embrace the transformation agenda of President Goodluck Jonathan.
The country is trying to transcend, the chaotic, period we are into. We are moving, we are transiting to a peaceful phase. And with a peaceful environment, we can talk of development, we can talk of growth.
The Emir of Ilorin, Alhaji Ibrahim Zulu Gambari, advised religious leaders to always promote peaceful coexistence in their preaching. The Chief Imam of Ilorin, Alhaji Muhammad Bashir, had earlier led faithfuls to observe the 2 Rakat supererogatory prayer to commemorate Eid al-Kabir. Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
And as part of activities to mark the Eid al-Kabir celebration, Muslims and non-Muslims visited various parks and gardens in Abuja. Correspondent Ifeanyi Zumba has more.
At a park in Maitama, children were seen playing with bouncing castle, while the women were cooking and preparing food for family members, expected visitors and well-wishers who will join them in celebrating.
I came to play because of Salah.
This is a day of peace, a day of joy.
Similarly, in Area 11, there were not much activities as few persons turned up. Some Muslims spoke to NTA on the celebration.
Obedience to God Almighty. We have been created to do what God has asked us to do.
Every devoted Muslim will use the opportunity of this Eid al-Kabir to pray to Almighty God that peace will reign supreme in Nigeria.
Kabir means number one. That's the biggest Eid we celebrate as Muslims.
We pray for our leaders so that God will bestow them with wisdom.
To celebrate the Eid al-Kabir, where we slaughter rams and share within our friends and family.
The Eid al-Kabir means Festival of the Sacrifice. It is one of the major religious festivals celebrated by Muslims every year. In Abuja, Ifeanyi Ezumba, NTA News.
While most people are at home with their families and friends to mark the Eid al-Kabir celebration, some are, however, at the duty post to ensure safety of their citizenry. Some providing healthcare services. Others, information and entertainment has been done by Nigerian Television Authority. Correspondent Kenneth Nani, who spoke with some of these people, said they are glad to provide these services even on holidays. Over to Kenneth.
October 2014 as public holiday to mark the Eid al-Kabir. This basically is to allow Nigerians have time to celebrate with their families and friends. However, there are some category of people who, by the nature of their job description, could not partake in the holiday.
It's a part of my job to the nation building. I'm telling you, I love this job that I'm doing.
Every time people get sick, and even if women will rest, they call us from home. So as far as we are committed, we have human feeling, so we are here serving people.
Mostly on a public holidays like this, the risk of fire outbreak is high. We all are happy, as you see, all of us. That is our own sacrifice for the nation.
This group of people include the media practitioners, health workers, security personnel, road marshals, firefighters, amongst others. They were of the opinion that adequate attention should be given to them to enhance their productivity.
Being on duty during the holiday is more challenging.
Made the add salary for us because this was what we do. We like the work, but we just try. We not get cover-nose and some things where we will just protect our body.
Like me now, I'm talking to you now. I don't have a machine.
These categories of people who sacrifice their public holidays to be at their duty posts, rendering service to the fatherland, say they have no regrets, as it is their own way of contributing their quota to nation building. In Abuja, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
I agree with you, Kenneth. And let's join Abdullah in Lagos to tell us how Eid-el-Kabir is being celebrated over there. Hello, Abdullah. Happy Salah celebration.
And thanks for joining us here in Lagos. In the spirit of the Eid-el-Kabir celebration, fun seekers in Lagos who cut across all ages have been trooping into recreational centers to catch fun. Joe Kane Abakboya reports that the excited fun seekers say the celebration is another opportunity to unwind.
Despite the busy nature of residents of Lagos, some of them still know how to catch fun when the opportunity presents itself. So, it is not surprising that hundreds of fun seekers thronged eateries, beaches, shopping malls, the National Theatre and other recreation centers to celebrate the Eid-el-Kabir. The gorgeously dressed fun seekers participated in various activities to entertain themselves and others. In high spirit, the fun seekers say the celebration is an opportunity to bond with friends, family and loved ones. Traders also use the opportunity to make brisk business.
The long holiday, so people have enough reason to travel because they know that when they travel, they will have enough time to spend with their family. That is why we have this low turnout now.
We hope if the rain did not fall, we get market.
Many say the public holidays declared by the federal government to mark Eid-el-Kabir has provided the opportunity to rest and rejuvenate. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakboya, NTA News.
Away from Salah celebrations, now that's arising from non-compliance with compulsory use of pedestrian bridges and major expressways by Lagos residents have continued to be a source of worry in the megacity. According to some respondents, the inefficiency of law enforcement officers in arresting and prosecuting offenders contribute to the rising disobedience of the traffic law. Nwanko Helen has details.
According to the Lagos State Traffic Law, which was enacted on August 2nd, 2012, pedestrians are forbidden to cross the expressway as the law states compulsory usage of a bridge where such facilities are available. However, in spite of recent events, erring residents still cross the roads, not minding the danger attached to it. But what could be responsible for the non-compliance with the law?
Maybe I'm already to where I'm going to. That's the reason I cross the express.
But some people are still taking the risk by themselves. Okay, look at that woman now. Look at that woman trying to pass there now. Look at that woman taking a very risk. You see her sit down there.
While some canvassed for the construction of more pedestrian bridges, others called on government to create enlightenment campaigns programs on the proper usage of pedestrian bridges.
People need to be tutored about using the pedestrian bridges.
Well, there should be laws. It will be a good idea to have laws to ensure that people use the right ways.
Violators of this law, according to the state traffic law, are charged between 30,000 naira and 50,000 naira fines or imprisonment up to 3 years if caught, and land use planning. In Lagos, Nwanko Helen, NTA News.
Health Matters Now Nigerians have been urged to continue to maintain environmental and personal hygiene, even with the containment of the Ebola virus disease. This advice was given by speakers at an Ebola sensitization forum organized by the National Association of Nigerian Theatre Art Practitioners in Lagos. Joy Ken Abokwe reports.
The unexpected outbreak of the Ebola virus disease in the country created fear and panic amongst Nigerians who were unaware of the dangers of the deadly disease. This necessitated the need for various stakeholders to carry out adequate enlightenments on the scourge. Despite the containment of the virus by the Nigerian government, awareness programs have continued. This time, the National Association of Nigerian Theatre Arts Practitioners is sensitizing its members on risks associated with the disease.
This workshop session was more for we artists ourselves, some of the people around us, at National Theatre staff, and some other stakeholders that we felt we needed to get the proper information and then go out there to spread the news.
Although Nigeria has been declared Ebola-free by the World Health Organization, speakers at the event say this is the time for all to sit up and work at preventing another outbreak of the disease.
And we knew how we got to where we are, or where we are as of today. But the truth is that we have tried to send away, for now, send away Ebola. That's the situation on ground. It is not to say that we are going to be sleeping. We are not sleeping at all. A lot of activities are still going on. Surveillance, active surveillance is there.
Na person to person, they pass am contact disease. Then they go now. He like the place where they get. He like person where they clean.
The event featured a question and answer session. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abokwe, NTA News.
Lagos State government says it will investigate the cause of the collapsed building at the Synagogue Church of All Nations. And the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners also asked the Lagos State government to sanction those found negligent. Justo Moses has details.
The governor described the synagogue incident as unfortunate. He, however, noted that the state government will be civil and methodical in its approach towards the investigation of the incident.
Building collapse at the synagogue was rather unfortunate, but I think that we must understand that our government has repeatedly said that we will investigate, and we will do so. And last week, Friday, I think the Attorney General empanels the coroner's court, because that is the appropriate machinery of government to undertake this kind of investigations when people die in such tragic and unnatural circumstances.
Earlier in his remarks, the national president, Nigerian Institute of Planners, Mr. Steve Onu, had commended the state government's efforts in area of regulations of the build sector.
On the synagogue building collapse, I urge you to ensure that a thorough investigation is carried out to unearth the culprits in this disaster. This is a good opportunity at getting an insight into the incidents of building collapse and know whether it is by technical or natural occurrence.
The governor also called for the partnership of the institute to curb incidents of building collapse in Lagos. Jesuto Moses, NTA News.
And that report concludes nationwide from Lagos. Femi is standing by to continue the news in Abuja. Femi, over to you.
Thank you, Abdullahi. Patients suffering from sickle cell anemia in Gombe State will now heave a sigh of relief as the new center for the treatment of the disease at the Federal Teaching Hospital in Gombe braced for the provision of holistic care for them. In this special report, correspondent Alatu Lamont tells us more about sickle cell disease and efforts put in place by government to curb new cases.
Sickle cell anemia disease, an inherited disorder of the blood cell, is associated with acute and chronic health problems, which include severe infections and attacks of severe pains and an increased risk of death. Complications of the disease, according to medical experts, can be prevented to a large extent with antibiotics and blood transfusion. Research indicates that almost 300,000 children are born with a form of sickle cell disease every year. In Gombe State, over 2,000 patients are suffering from the disease.
Locally in this center, we do give free services, especially the routine drugs, folic acid and paludrin are given free, and then consultation is also free. Then some basic laboratory investigations. So apart from that, if complications arise, that is the time, these patients face a lot of challenges.
As part of control measures, the federal government, in collaboration with the Millennium Development Goals, established a sickle cell anemia center at the Federal Teaching Hospital, Gombe, to provide standard care for patients. Minister of Health, Professor Onyebuchichukwu, commissioned the center, which is stocked with state-of-the-art medical equipment and routine drugs to be distributed free of charge, as well as genetic counseling and community advocacy in order to reduce mobility and mortality rates.
What we tried to do was to have special zonal sickle cell centers that will have the best of facilities and dedicated to advanced care of sickle cell disease. So this one was established in the Northeast.
Secretary Sickle Cell Club Gombe, Umar Shaibu, and some patient relatives appreciate the federal and Gombe state governments for their care and support. In Gombe, I am Talatu Lamon, NTA News.
Identified lack of proper management of high blood pressure, physical exercise and chain smoking as likely causes of acute brain injuries, which ultimately lead to loss of memory. This was the submission of various neurologists at the second Wellington Annual Acute Brain Injury and Neurocritical Care Lecture held in Abuja. Let's join Meo Gidi for details.
Mr. Augustine Ayebangi, in his mid-70s, had an auto crash early this year, which damaged part of his brain. On a chance meeting, Augustine told NTA News his experience for the period he lost his brain.
I couldn't remember things at times, and my control, urine and everything was went haywire.
But now you are okay.
I'm quite okay now.
But sadly, the issue of managing acute brain injuries is posing a great challenge in the Nigerian health sector. This is the reason the organizers of the second Wellington Lecture Series focused on how to handle brain injuries, especially by neurologists. But what are some of the likely causes of brain injury, apart from accident?
Self-medication is not advisable. The side effects of the drugs that you're taking. There are a lot of toxic complications that are associated with self-medication. And brain is one organ that is highly susceptible to chemical poisoning.
Diet, exercise, stop smoking, make sure if you're hypertensive that is treated, if you're diabetic that is probably treated. And all of those things have to combine. If you have atherosclerotic disease as an individual or you have a family history, then your doctor has to decide if you need to be on medicine or if he can manage you without medicine.
Medical experts also advise that people should avoid excessive cold to prevent stroke, which in turn causes acute brain injury. In Abuja, Mie Ogede, NTA News.
We are not yet done with health matters, as the leadership of the People's Democratic Party says the national success recorded on Ebola was because President Goodluck Jonathan refused to politicize the issue but took the bull by the horn through an aggressive multi-sectoral approach for treatment awareness and also the control, to the admiration of all Nigerians and the international community. A statement signed by the PDP National Publicity Secretary, Chief Olisametu, indicates that the party is amused by contradictions in the opposition statement, in which it also commended the roles played by the Minister of Health, Professor Onyebuchi Chukwu in the containment effort. The party indicated that the multi-sectoral approach deployed by the federal government with concerted collaboration of the Federal Ministry of Health, Aviation, Education, Information, Transport and other relevant agencies resulted in the successes attained. The PDP called for more concerted spirit that will unite and bind us together as a nation. Nigeria has also offered to lead an international team to help control the tide of the Ebola virus disease in some West African states. Minister of Health, Professor Onyebuchi Chukwu, stated this while participating as a guest in News Agency of Nigeria Forum in Abuja. To this end, the Director Center for Disease Control, Professor Abdulsalam Nasidi, is to lead the technical team and to commence the registration of volunteers health workers.
Again, Nigeria is offering its technical people to be able to move in as part of an international team to go and tackle Ebola viral disease in the area we call the Mano River Union, those areas including those 3 countries. What else have we done? We're already registering, and I'm impressed, quite a number of Nigerian health workers are registering that they want to volunteer as part of this international team. So yes, they have to volunteer. As people volunteer to come to Nigeria to work with us on controlling, so are we going to do that. Remember that the Minister of Health's closing remarks at any stage, anywhere, has always been, as long as there's one case of Ebola viral disease anywhere in the world, no country is safe.
While commending all Nigerians for jointly fighting the Ebola virus that led to its elimination, Professor Onyebuchi assured Nigerians that the federal government will not rest on its laurels in controlling its reoccurrence in Nigeria. And let's pause for some messages now. Nationwide will be back shortly. Stay with us.
Is sharing. Love is caring. Love is selfless. Love lives and let live. As Nigeria celebrates her 54th independence anniversary, let all Nigerians put aside our individual, ethnical, religious and class differences and choose to live and die by the superior virtue of love. Only then we would have achieved the true essence of life. Let love beautify Nigeria. Happy 54th Independence Anniversary, Nigeria.
This message is brought to you courtesy Transformation Ambassadors of Nigeria. Down for one vision, Nigeria.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces, or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees, or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood.
Change is never easy. It was not easy for Dr. Martin Luther King when Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew transformed Singapore from third world to first world. It was not easy. They stoned him. It was not easy for Nelson Mandela.
I, Barack Hussein Obama.
It was not easy for Barack Obama. Nothing worthwhile ever is. Dr. Martin Luther King did it. Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew did it. Nelson Mandela did it. Barack Obama did it. Goodluck Jonathan is doing it. He is transforming Nigeria. Mr. President, keep doing it. We who are with you are so many more than those who are against you. A message from protectors of Nigerian posterity.
Women and Girls Summit 2014.
The First Lady
Federal Republic of Nigeria, in collaboration with the National Center for Women Development and Friends Africa, invite you to a 2-day summit on women and the girl child in commemoration of the 2014 International Day of the Girl Child. Convener, Her Excellency Dr. Dame Patience Jonathan, President, African First Ladies Peace Mission. Theme, reinforcing the agenda for girl-child education. Date, 13th and 14th October 2014. Time, 10 a.m. daily. Venue, National Center for Women Development, Abuja. Women and Girls Summit 2014. Reinforcing the agenda for girl-child education.
Together we can make it right.
Announcer, Lady Onyeka Onwenu, MFR.
Shopee has ensured the reconstruction of the Abuja Lokoja Road and the East-West Road in Port Harcourt.
The standard gauge rail tracks from Abuja to Kaduna and Lagos to Kano indicate that our trains are coming back.
The second Niger Bridge in the southeast and the Loko Oweto Bridge in the north central are in progress, thanks to Shopee.
Shopee's mass transit program has made transportation easier for Nigerians.
Shopee has rehabilitated over 1,000 health centers across Nigeria.
Shopee has provided mama kits to pregnant women, and polio is on the verge of eradication.
Shopee has also ensured the provision of social amenities, and through its various training programs for young people, guarantees a better future.
Shopee, delivering service with integrity.
Love is sharing. Love is caring. Love is selfless. Love lives and let live. As Nigeria celebrates her 54th independence anniversary, let all Nigerians put aside our individual, ethnical, religious, and class differences and choose to live and die by the superior virtue of love. Only then we would have achieved the true essence of life. Let love beautify Nigeria. Happy 54th Independence Anniversary, Nigeria.
This message is brought to you courtesy Transformation Ambassadors of Nigeria. Done for One Vision, Nigeria.
You are still on to NTA Nationwide, and the conferment of National Honors Award on some Nigerians by President Goodluck Jonathan has started yielding positive results. A young Nigerian lady had a life-changing encounter at an occasion to celebrate with one of the award recipients. Adebola Bruslin Sunday tells us more.
22-year-old Anna James can rightly be described as a patriotic Nigerian who believes in doing the right thing despite all odds. After struggling to acquire her secondary school education, her dream of proceeding to the university was shattered because she had to resort to petty trading to cater for her mother, who suddenly became blind, and her bedridden father, who could no longer discharge their duty as parents. This had forced Anna to assume the responsibility of being a mother to her parents and elder brother, who have relocated to their village in Benue State, leaving her behind in this one-room apartment to fend for the entire family. Despite the hard times, Hannah has remained resolute and refusing peer group influence from young girls of her age group, but determined to earn a living through decent and dignified way. Reward then came her way when Mike O'Mary, an advocate of doing the right thing, had read about Anna's story in one of the newspapers. Supported by other friends, the sum of 1 million naira was raised, which is to be managed by the National Orientation Agency to assist her further her education.
Anna, aren't you a lucky girl? The Honorable Minister of Power has added 300,000 naira.
I was thinking, I was even thinking last week that could it be that God has forgotten about me and my family forever? But I never knew that I still have something in store for me.
I think sometimes she's the one that's feeding me in some aspects. Even up till now, I don't think I've paid my school fees yet, but I still thank God because I can see that God have answered our prayer.
It's somebody that have the conviction and is still pursuing that, the dream.
Anna's story is a wake-up call to other young Nigerians to do the right thing. Adebola Bruslin Sunday, NTA News.
Congratulations to Anna. And correspondent Ismail Musa takes a look at road development in Nigeria from independence to date.
The road sector is a critical component of the economy. About 90% of movement of people and goods is done by road transportation due to its flexibility. Records show that Nigeria has over the years made tremendous strides in road rehabilitation and modernization to meet the increased traffic nationwide. The first bituminous surface road linking Lagos and Abeokuta was constructed in 1926.
By 1980, we didn't have more than 150,000 vehicles plying Nigerian roads. And at that time, Nigeria already had about 30,000 kilometers of road network. But today, with only about 35,000 kilometers of federal arterial road network, we have about 10 million vehicles on our road. Just imagine the axle loading on the road.
Following the discovery of crude oil in 1956 and exploration in the 60s, more roads were upgraded from single lane to double lane.
In 1974, the federal government took a decision to take over some of the state roads. And it took over about 16,000 kilometers of state road and called them trunk F roads. So this brought the total number of federal road network to 32,000 kilometers.
Today, with the restructuring of the Federal Ministry of Works, establishment of the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, in 2004, creation of the Road Sector Development Team, and the intervention of the Subsidiary Investment Program on Road Development, the nation can now boast of a total of 200,000 kilometer road network.
If we get back to the 60s, 70s, that was the period during when we had the oil boom. During that period, efforts were concentrated towards development of new roads and rehabilitation. Maintenance was neglected because this neglect led to the serious backlog of maintenance issues, which we are really now suffering.
What the government is doing now is more better off than what we were having before.
Apart from the completed 60 federal road projects, the efforts to link the 6 geopolitical zones with dual carriage roads, the ongoing Loko-Uweto Bridge to link Benue and Nasarawa State, and the long-awaited Second Niger Bridge project are among the flagship projects of the present administration. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
From road, we move to another sector, and this is the Nigerian oil and gas sector, which also plays a dominant and important role in the nation's economy to further maximize the investment opportunities available in the sector. The role of government is being redefined, with markets deregulated to achieve sectoral efficiency and sustainable development. In this special report, correspondent Lydia Sampson takes a look at the liberalization of the downstream sector of the oil and gas industry. Over to Lydia.
Time passed, Nigeria, though an oil-producing country, experienced scarcity of petroleum products that crippled national economic activities. To help address this, stakeholders in the oil and gas sector have been advocating the deregulation of the downstream, which will force to the reduction or outright removal of government control, rules and regulations that restrain free operational activities in the sector.
We have increased our assets in land, swamp and offshore rigs, which is a key performance indicator, I must say, of business growth in Nigerian service companies. And it's something to be very proud about. Nigerian companies are now forming partnerships for deep water rig ownership, never done before.
It is hoped that the government, at the end of the day, the pricing policies will be removed in terms of the capping as we have now.
Major players in the sector are unanimous that the passage of the Petroleum Industry Bill will go a long way in providing the right structure for operationality of the upstream, midstream and downstream.
The PIB, which we all believe that, if that law is passed, it will bring about this desired deregulation that people talk about.
Even us here in the Senate are a bit concerned about the speed at which we are moving, but we're doing our best to try to fast-track the consideration of the bill.
They say oil is a global commodity and Nigeria cannot operate in isolation, but must be in...
Oh, we're sorry about that. We continue with the news as we now join Lydia and Makodi for Idekabi stories plus other reports coming from that center. Over to you and Barika de Sala, Lydia.
Thanks, Femi. Barika de Sala. Taraba State Acting Governor Alhaji Garba Umar has enjoined Muslims in the state to use the period of the Eid al-Kabir celebration to rededicate themselves to the life of sacrifice as exemplified by Prophet Ibrahim. The acting governor gave the charge during his Salah message to the people of the state shortly after performing the 2 Raka'ah prayers. Correspondent Christy Ayagwa Adaji completes the report.
The Taraba State Acting Governor Alhaji Garba Umar, who was accompanied by top government functionaries, joined thousands of worshippers at the Izala Central Eid ground to observe the 2 Raka'at prayers. While felicitating with the Muslim Ummah on the occasion of the Eid al-Kabir celebration, the acting governor called on Tarabans to pray for sustained peace and stability in the state. He stressed the need for Muslim faithful to use the period of the celebration and re-establish pillars of love and tolerance among their neighbors.
Today is a day for Muslims to celebrate with their Christian brothers, so I'm appealing to all of us to please embrace each other so that we can forge ahead.
He advised Muslims to always live by the dictates of Islam and avoid committing sinful acts that will earn them the wrath of God. The Eid al-Kabir Salah celebration in all the 3 senatorial zones of the state was conducted peacefully. In Jalingo, Christy Ayagwa Adaji, NTA News.
Residents of Makudi, the Benue State capital, living in flood-prone areas, have been in constant fear following the persistent rainfall witnessed in the state in recent weeks. Correspondent Blessing Omeche Ebute reports that some of these areas are experiencing serious flooding.
Residents of Makudi have in recent weeks experienced persistent rainfall. These have resulted in flooding in most parts of the town, with those residing in flood-prone areas the worst hit. Some of these areas include Logo 2, Wurukum Market, Idie Village, among others. At the Wurukum Market, traders were seen scooping water from their various shops. Those living along Community Road Wadata had their share of flooding, as this culvert could not contain the volume of water produced by the rain. There was also drama as this snake ran for cover into the mud guard of the motorcycle of Awalu Shuaibu, who lives in this submerged house. Damian Teka and Colinus Ode, who are residents of the area for years, said they have continued to experience flood disasters.
Government to us, please do a better bridge culvert so that this water will have channel to pass.
Every year it happens like this to us 3 or 4 times a year. All these places will be full of water.
Though the government has constructed drainage channels, observers call for a holistic approach in tackling the issue of flooding. In Makudi, Blessing Omeche Ebute, NTA News.
About 70 people, including women and children, have died of an outbreak of measles and cholera in an internally displaced camp in Bali local government area in Taraba State. Correspondent Christy Ayagwa Adaji reports that the displaced are mainly thief people from the communal crisis in Benue and Taraba State who are in thousands living in very challenging conditions.
Revealing the appalling condition the internally displaced people who are predominantly thief from the Benue and Taraba communal crisis, the spokesman of the community, Mr. Emmanuel K., said the condition under which the internally displaced live calls for immediate action from both the Taraba state and federal government. Mr. Emmanuel K. said outbreak of cholera and measles occasioned by poor sanitary conditions have continued to claim lives of the most vulnerable like women and children. The third chief of Bali, Zaki David Ba, called on the federal and state government to find a lasting solution to the incessant attack on his people. He said over 1,200 of his people have so far been displaced and fled to other local governments and the neighboring Benue state. The chairman, Bali local government area, Mr. Andy Yerima, who confirmed the plight of the internally persons, in his area said he has officially reported their plight to the appropriate authorities and expressed optimism that action will soon be taken. He said the local government on its part has procured some drugs and distributed to the camps to mitigate the spread of the outbreak. In Jalingo, Christy Ayagwa Adaji, NTA News.
And that's nationwide from Makudi. It's back to Femi for more on the news. Barka de Salah.
Thank you, Lydia. The Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, has concluded arrangements to furnish and also equip its ultra-modern network news studio within the shortest possible time. NTA Director General Shola Omole in an interview said this was one of the many decisions beneficial to Nigerians reached after a successful meeting at the Star Times headquarters in Beijing. Juliet Aino reports.
France fresh for the tournament.
As the television industry becomes more and more competitive, more is now required to keep the audience engaged.
Give everybody a chance to win.
Looking to create a whole new connection with the Nigerian audience, NTA's Director General Shola Omole has decided on a model for the new NTA News studio.
The television industry has become something of a razzmatazz. That's what viewers like to see. They don't like this dull, straight-jacketed thing that we've had. So this is exciting. I hope that we can take advantage of our interactions with our joint venture partners here and do something similar to this, bring some aesthetic value to our viewers.
NTA's engineers will also be trained on the use of these new equipments and how to bring the best out of the organization's existing facilities.
There are a number of facilities that we have currently which we're not utilizing because our people just don't have the know-how to be able to do it. I'd like to correct that kind of a situation where if we're getting anything new, somebody from the ground level goes to study it and then comes back with it. And so our fluency level ought to be increasing on a day-to-day basis. You can change colors, you can change sets, you can do all kinds of things. But I also want to be careful not to push too much on people too quickly.
Television, as a constantly evolving medium, has been informing and entertaining the world for over 70 years. DGNTA says the organization can move and improve with the changing times if those who use its facilities pay for the service.
If you really want the live coverage or you want something, you've got to pay for it. And we're running NTA now like a business enterprise, and everything costs us money. And therefore, if you are a client and you want to do something, you've got to pay us. So if we manage our resources properly, we should be able to pay for some of these things.
The new NTA News studio will be fitted and installed before the next election in 2015. From Beijing, China, Julieta Aino, NTA News.
Subcommittee on Publicity and Enlightenment for Ebola virus disease takes campaign to the central zone of Plateau State. These and other stories with Ruth now in Jos, already standing by. It's over to you, Ruth, and happy Salah.
Happy Salah to you too, Femi, and welcome to Jos. To improve water governance and institutional capacity for increased access to safe water and hygiene service delivery, the federal government has keyed into the water reform project with donor investors. Issues concerning water featured prominently at the national launch of the implementation of the Water Supply and Sanitation Sector Reform Program, Phase 3. Ijoma Ozemina reports that the event, hosted by the Plateau State government in collaboration with European Union, is for the selected states of Plateau, Adamawa and Ekiti.
The Water Supply and Sanitation Sector Reform Program Phase 3 will address the priorities of the 10th European Development Fund support for promoting state and local governance reforms. The project aims at contributing to poverty reduction and achievement of water and sanitation-related Millennium Development Goals in Nigeria. Plateau State Governor Jonah David Jang explained that due to the various water reforms, the state was selected as one of the beneficiaries.
Indeed, there was a choice of Plateau among the beneficiaries. Reforming the water sector, which is the ambition of this project, complements the efforts we've made in the last 7.5 years. And we've done this in the belief that will increase the quality of life of our people.
In the same vein, team leader of the European Union delegation, Mr. Blinker-Lechley, was optimistic that the project will enhance access and quality of water as well as promote healthy living of the people.
The Phase 3 project will just focus on improving water governance, policies, laws, institutional framework, application of integrated water resource management principles. It is pertinent to note that the neglect of the water and sanitation sector of the country is economically counterproductive. This fact was clearly exposed in the Water and Sanitation Program report, which revealed that Nigeria loses an estimated 455 billion naira annually to poor sanitation.
There were goodwill messages from European Union, Minister of Water Resources, and that of National Planning, governors of Adamawa and Ekiti states. The European Union team in the state was taking round the new office complex of the Plateau Water Board, which will serve as their headquarters. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemina, NTA News.
The Plateau State Ebola Public Enlightenment and Social Mobilization Subcommittee has taken the campaign to Mangu for the Central Senatorial Zone. Ekemerem Kaneng Ladoja reports that similar campaign was held for the northern zone of the state.
The stakeholders was made up of youth, women groups, Hunters Association, traditional rulers from Mangu, Bokos, Panshin, Kanki and Kanam local government areas. Chairman of the subcommittee, who is also the State Commissioner for Information, Mrs. Olivia Daziem, said the mission of the committee is to ensure that the state is prepared to handle any eventuality. Secretary of the committee, Mr. James Water, spoke extensively on the disease, its signs and symptoms, as well as its preventive measures. The State UNICEF consultant, Mrs. Bugbemi Jakdomi, and the Commissioner for Women Affairs, Mrs. Sarah Yusuf, were also on ground to give a push on the do's and don'ts. There was questions and answer session where misconceptions were clarified, doubts erased, and salient points were emphasized for adequate assimilation of the messages. From Panching, Ekemeren Kaneng Ladoja, NTA News.
And that's it from Jos. Is back to Femi for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Ruth. Nigerians demonstrated their love and patriotism for the country as they turned out in numbers to celebrate the country's 54th independence anniversary in London. Blikisu Abdurazak Odoye reports that it was an evening of fun and laughter.
We come from our father, make we love each other, make we live like brothers.
Call it a gathering of the creme de la creme of the Nigerian society in the United Kingdom, and you will not be wrong. Dressed elegantly in mostly traditional attires, the diasporans converged on Abuja House, official residence of Nigeria's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, to celebrate a great nation's 54 years of independence in our 100 years existence as one country, with a variety of entertainers, thrilling guests.
Sir, should I tell them what it means? It means you are welcome.
27 Nigerians from different fields of endeavor received the High Commissioner's Award to outstanding Nigerian citizens in the United Kingdom, including Dr. Dalhatu Sariki Tafida, who was presented with the Arise Award in recognition of his immense contribution as a great mentor of the 2 million Nigerians in the United Kingdom. Nigeria's High Commissioner, Dr. Dalhatu Sariki Tafida, said Nigeria has improved greatly despite her challenges, lauding President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan for the many strides achieved by his administration.
I believe the sky is the limit if they can plow all these back to Nigeria, because Nigeria is doing very well in terms of economy. Our challenges in terms of security, I'm sure, will be a thing of the past.
A quiz, a competition, and the cutting of the independence cake by the High Commissioner, assisted by leaders of the High Commission and other dignitaries, brought the evening to a close. In London, Bilkisu Abdurazak Oduoye, NTA News.
In another development, uneasy calm has continued to pervade in Ghana following the deadline given to all Nigerian traders in Ghana markets to vacate. The Nigerian High Commissioner to Ghana, Mr. Demola Onofowa, has also urged them to remain calm, promising high-level intervention, and Cordelia Okwama has the situation report.
This time coming from the Ministry of Trade and Commerce, they said, no longer just Guta. So what's your position on this? Is that the right thing to do?
It is wrong. I actually have written to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Nigeria, expressing the stance of the Ghanaian government, and that we need intervention at the very high level to make sure that our traders are not being harassed. It was only on Monday I sent a dispatch, and I am seeking audience with the Minister of Trade for Tuesday, and I'll be going with the leader of the Nigerian traders and a couple of my officers to see what can be done. But my fear is that unless we have intervention at the highest level or at very high ECOWAS level, a lot of things will go wrong.
Wow, such as?
They close the shops, lock the shops, harass them and all those things. And that's not in the spirit of ECOWAS. We've been doing this battle now. Before I came, and since I came, we've been able to keep it under wraps. But unfortunately, the minister that we're used to in that ministry has been moved to another ministry. Okay. So we have to start all over again, cultivating the new minister and letting him know.
Nigerian High Commissioner to Ghana, Mr. Demola Onofowa. On global tidbits, Somalia government intensify efforts in rebuilding its economy as former U.S. President Bill Clinton is named among contenders for the 2014 Nobel Prize slated for Oslo on Friday. These are more on global tidbits with Talatu Eziriki.
Following the army takeover of head towns from militants in Somalia, government is now rebuilding hospitals, schools, roads and utilizing its seaport to generate revenue and revamping its economy. Stay in Africa, long-awaited 2010 honeymoon mother trial opens in Cape Town, but the accused, a British businessman, denied masterminding the killing of his wife during their honeymoon in South Africa. From Europe, new NATO chief reaffirms Eastern allies to defend and protect Ukraine. On 2014 Nobel Peace Prize, there are speculations that former U.S. President Bill Clinton might beat other contenders that include former Irish President Mary Robertson because of his active involvement in resolving peace disputes in the globe. And doctors at a private clinic in Paraguay say proton therapy is a powerful weapon in the fight against cancer. It is found to improve treatment of tumors with minimal damage to healthy tissues and risk of complications. That is along Global Tidbits. Talati Ezarike, NTA News.
From Global Tidbits, we move to sports, where Nigeria Scrabble Federation clamor for sustainable growth of the sport in the country as #1 tennis Novak Djokovic also basks in the euphoria of a record 46 career title. Let's join Kenne in Magbudike as he tells us more on Sports Update.
The Nigeria Scrabble Federation says the annual Godswill Akpabio Scrabble Classic, which has gone 8 years so far, has changed the perception of the game in Nigeria. The federation, which commended Governor Akpabio for the series, believes that the annual competition has brought out the best in Nigerian Scrabblers. Correspondent Kayode Adeniyi, however, quotes the former president of the federation, Toke Aka, as saying that it is not yet a huru for the game of Scrabble in the country.
Until the time when a Nigerian youth can also go and win a World Youth Championship, a Nigerian player can go and win a World Championship, then I can say we are starting to near where I wanted Scrabble to be.
In tennis,
We sincerely apologize for the unsteady nature of that picture on the sports report. We continue as Governor Muazu Babangida Ali of Niger State has condoled Nigerians and the family of Makamamina Alhaji Isiaku Sani, who died last Sunday. A statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor Israel Ibije also condoled the Emir of Kutangura, Saidu Namasaka, and described the death of former Managing Director of the News Agency of Nigeria, Oluremi Oyo, as a great loss to Nigeria and also the media sector. And it is your right to challenge anybody suspected to be involved in unwholesome activities around you. Be security conscious. This message is from the Directorate of State Security. And that's it on NTA Nationwide. My name is Femi Johnson. We thank you for joining us. Do join us for more reports that will be on at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and also the network news at 9. Good afternoon.